Guess we are back live. We had a cut out, everything went blank. Don't know what was the problem, but I'm glad that we are back. So I'm just gonna keep speaking to you for a moment until everything is fully set in place. So I'll be able to see from here and the computer and just move on with this Bible study. So as I was saying to you before, is that you have to have the right perspective about yourself and the concept that you hold about yourself would mean how you would see life and how you would actually approach life. That's why I was speaking to you concerning your mood is your fortune. I was speaking to you concerning that book I would have written. Okay? So you have to have the right feeling or the right perception about yourself if you're going to use your imagination to create your reality consciously. And if you're going to accept the Bible as your spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. Okay, as I would have said to you before, I'm just speaking at this time until everything is back up in full. I don't know what just would have happened a while ago. Okay, I see everything is back up and I'm looking to see who's on the live right now, who's on the chat. Okay. I see one person. I'm looking for the others to get back on the chat. We would have lost a while ago. Ryan Jones, nice having you, my brother. I see two people back on the chat. Something when I remove this. Two people back. Just come take a look for me. Two people back on the chat. Okay. So, okay, let me move on. As I would have said before, I do not know what would have happened, but everything just went blank. So I had to just reset everything. But now we are ready. And I'm just going to wait about another minute or two for others to join the chat. I see only one person. 3 persons are here. Nice having you all back on the chat. Everything just went blank a while ago. Okay, but it's nice to have you back. Now, the Bible study this evening is going to deal with how imagination creates reality and how we are to know that the Bible would have taught us how to use our imagination to create our reality consciously and how we must apply the law of consciousness in our life with the right understanding of the Bible. Also, as I was mentioning earlier, the Bible speaks about when you use the law and you delight in the law of God, that everything that you put your hand to, that it will prosper. For you would be like the tree that's planted by the rivers of water, and you bring forth your fruit in its due season. For everything has a time and everything has a season. It is called the law of gestation. So there's a period of time that will take place before you can see the manifestation. Okay? Now, I really want to share with you the aspect of the Bible that Abdullah taught to Neville Goddard so that he can share it with the rest of humanity and point each and every one to look no other place but to look inwardly and learn to understand that their own imagination is what creates their reality. So we're going to look into the Bible and see who is God and who is our imagination and why the only power there is in this world to create is the power of imagining. Okay? Now, this Bible that I'm holding in my hand here, if you do not have a copy of this Bible, I encourage you to get a copy of this Bible because this is the Bible I'm going to study from. Okay, it's called the 66 Books of Magic, the Overcomer's Bible, dedicated to Abdullah and Neville Goddard. Okay? Now I'm going to read from St. John 1 and I'm going to read it.
On your back. This is.
Okay, I'm back. Nice that I'm back. I believe it's the network. It's been raining a lot in these parts, and sometimes when there's a lot of rain, sometimes the network, don't operate at its full potential. Okay, so sometimes this kind of problem can come from the network because I have everything plugged in direct. So I'm not using Wi-Fi. It's plugging directly into the internet. Okay, I have the box right here and it's plugged in direct. So I guess it's probably the network. But I will continue, as I was saying, that I'm gonna teach you how to look at what Neville would have taught, the way Abdullah would have taught him to understand the law and how to use the law with the understanding of the Bible. And I'm doing this because I want to be able to help people all around the world, especially people who are still trapped in secular Christianity and people who still believe that the Bible is literal. Okay? And people who still believe also that there's a God outside of themselves or a God in the sky. I'm going to show you how simple it is to help your relatives or your friends or those who are still trapped in secular Christianity by teaching them the scriptures and teaching them the scripture from an angle that makes sense to them. We are not to judge and condemn those who do not understand the psychological interpretation of the Bible, but we have to simplify it in such a way that they would understand. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. So, as I would have said before, I'm going to read from St. John, and the Bible I'm using is the 66 Books of Magic, the Overcomer's Bible, for those who already know about the
No, the Wi-Fi isn't.
Okay, we're back. Okay.
It is direct, probably weather.
Okay, as I said before, I believe it's because of the weather.
You just have to continue.
The network, giving some problem. But I'm gonna continue. I'm not gonna give up. I see this live being successful in spite of the network. Okay, it's just like life. In life, we would face problems, we face situations, but we do not give up because there are lessons to take us to a higher place and to give us better understanding of how to deal with life. Now, I want to read to you from the Bible, from St. John chapter 1. I will encourage you to get your pen and to get your paper and to go along with me as we discuss how imagination really creates reality. Now, as we know, many people refer to Genesis as the creation story, the book of the beginning. But very few people fail to understand that St. John verses 1, St. John chapter 1, and Genesis are actually speaking about the same thing. Okay? About creation and how you create. So it says in St. John 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, as I speak to you, I am expressing a part of me that you cannot see. So you are hearing me, but you're not seeing the words. Because the words that are coming from my mouth, They are life and spirit. And spirit is invisible. Therefore,
Oh my.
resume.
Yeah, you probably would have to make it short.
We're back again. I don't know the network. As I say, all this is coming from the network. Okay, this is network problem. But I'm just gonna continue. So as I was saying to you that you have your physical being and your spiritual being. You have an inner man and you have an outer man. Okay? So as I was saying a while, as I speak to you, what I'm speaking to you is known as word. But let us define what is a word. Now, a word is a thought expressed. So I am expressing my thoughts, and it is only when I express my thoughts that you will know what I am thinking. Because that life that is in me is invisible. So you cannot look at me and know my thoughts. But when I speak, then I express my thoughts. So too with everything that has ever been created. It was first a thought. So here it is teaching you in the Bible in St. John 1 that all of creation begins with thought. And that there is time and there is eternity. So out of eternity comes time. Out from spirit comes matter. From the invisible comes the visible. From the formless comes the form. So your thoughts, they are vibrational frequencies. Because everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. So if it tells you in the beginning, it means there is existence before. But that existence that is before is formless. But until it expresses itself into form, then you will have an understanding. Just like how I explained to you that it's only when I speak, I am expressing my thoughts to you. So a word is a thought expressed. So he's saying that life that is in you is actually God. So let me make it a little simple for you. When a person, like a preacher, a person who claims to be an apostle or a prophet, who are in secular Christianity, when they speak to you and they say to you, the Lord spoke to me, or the Lord tell me to tell you. What happened is that most people never really question the pastor and say, Pastor, when you say that the Lord spoke to you, who are you speaking about? Who spoke to you? Did you hear an audible voice? Or did you hear a voice within? Now, if that pastor is honest, he would say it's a small voice within. Now, that small voice within is what we refer to as our intuition, which is our inside teeth. You back, right?
Yeah, you just have to continue.
We're back again. I'm gonna continue. Okay. as I said before, this whole problem is coming from the network. Okay, because I'm not using Wi-Fi, everything is connected directly, so I have to be from the network. Okay? I mean, if we continue, keep going like that, well then I might have to just, rest it till next week, because I'm gonna do this every week. So let me inform you that I'm gonna do this every week, the same time. So every Saturday, 6:30, I'll be doing live Bible studies with you and break down all of the teachings of Neville Goddard from the biblical standpoint. So as I was saying, whenever a pastor or preacher said the Lord spoke to me, they're speaking of their intuition. And your intuition is God. So when the Bible says that the Word was God, and that the Word is God, and that the Word is with God, it is speaking about within. Everything is within you. The word that I'm speaking is coming from within. And it's all vibration. So it's vibrating out on a frequency. And because you're in that same kind of frequency, you're hearing me. It's just like the television or the radio. There are different frequencies. And whatever frequency you tune into, that's the message that you will receive. So those of you who have tuned into this frequency, you're hearing my voice because of vibration. So everything takes place within. So it says here in verses 2 of St. John, chapter 1, the same was in the beginning with God, and verses 3, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. And this is where we want to dive deep now, where it says that all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now, when it says that all things were made by him, what does that leave out? It doesn't leave out anything. And that is why it's very important for us to know who is the him. Now, when many people read St. John 1 and verses 3 and they read where it says all things were made by him, they think that him is referring to a man 2,000 years ago. They believe that him is referring to a power outside of themselves. But I'm going to show you that it's not referring to a power outside of yourself. I'm going to show you that it's teaching you of a power that resides in you. And it's telling you that with all this power that is in you, there isn't anything made that was made. And that all things were made by this power. Not some, all things. Now, I'm holding my hand here a $50 bill in our currency, okay? Which is the Eastern Caribbean currency. Okay, I hope you can see it clearly. Okay, I'm seeing it clearly now, okay? And this money that I'm holding, it was first imagined. It was first a thought. And it says that all things were made by him. So let us look into the him of which the Bible is speaking about here. The him that creates money. The him that creates this pen that I'm holding in my hand. The him that creates the computer. The him that creates the camera that I'm looking through right now and speaking to you. Because it says that all things were made by him. So let us look at the him. Now, if that him is referring to a man 2,000 years ago, then it means that before 2,000 years ago, that there was another power that was creating those things that were created. So it will be very contradictory to believe that this hymn is speaking of any other power outside of your imagination. So when you read of this hymn, it is a personification of your imagination. So your imagination, which is God, what is the next week? When people get on that. Okay, we are back. Right now I'm having the feeling like I might have to continue this live maybe next week, because I don't like how we just keep breaking. I would like to see your reply. If you like me to continue, I'll continue. If you think it's a good idea for me to just continue like next week, because the problem I'm getting is it have to be the network, because sometimes you get those kind of problems from the network down here. As a matter of fact, there's only one network. Okay, someone is saying to continue. Okay, so I'm gonna try and continue. Okay, I'm looking for other people comment. Okay, so once you want me to continue, let's continue. So as I was saying before, that when you read that all things were made by him, this him is a personification. It's not speaking of a literal person. Because the many things that are being made even now, they have been made by different persons or different individuals, but one power. Each and every one of them are using the same power. Because everything has to first be imagined. Everything has to first be a thought. So everything that we depend upon, it was first imagined. It was first a thought. Therefore, if you believe in God, you have to believe that there's only one God. And if you believe that there's only one God, you have to be able to see that one God in everyone. It doesn't matter which part of the world that a person is living. We all depend on one power to create our reality. And that one power is our imagination. So without imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And everything that ever going to be made or invented in this world, it must first be imagined. It must first be a thought. It must first be an idea in someone's mind. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, if this money that I'm holding here, if this money was first an idea, and it was first a thought in someone's mind, then it means when you have an idea or a thought of attracting this in your life, that all you need to do is realize that you can touch it. Realize that you can smell it. realize that you can see it. So if you can see it physically, and you're a spirit having a human experience, then you should be able to close your eyes and see the same money spiritually. So when you close your eyes, you're shutting out the physical realm. And you're going into the realm where you can contact God. Because God is a spirit. And they that would contact God must contact God by spirit. Now, for you to get into the world of spirit, you have to get into meditation or visualization in this case. So when you realize that someone first visualized the pattern of this money, and they visualize the machine, they visualize the ink, they visualize the portraits that will be drawn on this money, then you will realize that when you believe that God is your imagination, that you're not supposed to seek anyone to get abundance of money in your life. The only one you're supposed to seek is the God in you. And you're told that you must commune with your own heart upon your bed and go into visualization. Go into a place of silence. And you've been admonished to do that in Psalms 4:4. Psalms chapter 4 and verses 4. So my brother, my sisters, each and everyone in this world, they are working to get money in their life, to support their family. But when we come to realize that God is our provider and God is our imagination, we realize that we can provide everything for ourselves. Because we realize that there is no limit to our imagination. Because so I'll continue. No, let me just continue, man. After I start. You back live? Okay, we're live again. I'm just gonna continue. Okay, when I reach a certain time, I'll stop. But I wanna let you know that I'm gonna continue next week. Okay, I believe the internet will be better next week. Okay, as I said, when it's raining a lot in my country, normally I have some problems. But I actually wanted us to start this Bible study, and I'm glad that I have started. Okay, so we would have read right up to verse 3 of St. John, and we're still vibrating, and verse 3 where it says all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. And we have come to the conclusion that that him is speaking of our imagination. It is not speaking of a man 2,000 years ago. So you are the Lord and Master of your destiny. You are the Savior of your life. So you are responsible to create the life that you desire here by depending on your own imagination. Not depending on a power outside of yourself, but depending on your imagination. Now, the system have given us an educational platform for us to depend upon. They have given us also a political platform for us to look to. And they would have given us also a religious platform for us to look to help ourselves, to redeem ourselves, to provide for ourselves and our families. But we see here, it is telling you that there's a power that is in everyone. And this power that is in everyone is the power that gives wealth, is the power that gives health. Because it says all things were made by this power. And it is referring to this power as him. And without him was not anything made that was made. And we have discovered that everything that has ever been made, it was first imagined. And all the things that were made, they were first imagined. Now, there are many people who go to church and they fellowship in a building, but that building was first imagined. Then the preacher preached from a pulpit. The pulpit was first imagined. Then the preacher would read from the Bible, but the Bible was first imagined also, because everyone who writes a book, they were able to write because they were inspired. And they were inspired by their intuition. So your intuition is God in man. All down through the ages. Even things that have never been recorded in history. Every action comes from a thought. So even if the earth is billions of years old, humanity would have only known one power, and it's the power of imagining. And they could have done nothing unless it was first a thought or first an idea. So my brother, my sisters, when a person fails to understand the law of mentalism, they are actually mentally retarded. It's like an impotent man who cannot have an erection. Okay, I'm back again, and I'm going to go at it again. Okay? As I was saying, when a person fails to understand the law of mentalism, and he fails to understand how the mind works, back. Okay, we are back again, my brother, my sister, but I think I will have to end here. Okay, because the network is really giving a lot of problem. And as I would have said before, I have everything plugged in direct. I'm not using any kind of Wi-Fi, and it's still giving me this kind of problem. So I know definitely it's network problem. So what I want to do, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, and I want to encourage you to go back in St. John 1. I'll continue back there next week and get the right understanding of St. John chapter 1 from verses 1 to 3, what is really speaking about, so we can help our brothers and sisters who are still trapped in secular Christianity, so they would not continue to give their power away, believing that when the Bible says that all things were made by him, that it is speaking of a man outside of themselves, or speaking of a power outside of themselves. But we have to teach them that it is speaking of a power that is within themselves, and that power is God, and it is their imagination. And that everything that we depend on in this world for survival, it was first imagined. Even those people who go to church on a Saturday and a Sunday and they pay the tithes and they pay the offering, those same tithes and offering, it was for us imagine. It was for us a thought. It was for us an idea. And they're going to say to you that it is God who provided it for them. So if we have to chase the way how it was provided, it will all go back to the mind of man and prove that God and man are one and that God is our imagination, and how we have to embrace our imagination and embrace ourselves and love ourselves more, appreciate ourselves more, and to be more responsible for our thoughts and our actions. So let me end here, my brother, my sister, by saying to you, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm looking forward to see you next week. Okay? So, namaste, peace, I'm out.